The Universal Orlando Resort consists of two theme parks. One is the best in all of Orlando, and the other is Universal Studios Florida. Touted as the main theme park for the resort, the park sits in an awkward spot, and over the last few years has made some interesting development decisions. Breathtaking, world-class attractions sit side by side with rides a little past their expiry date, and others that should have never been created in the first place. But depending on the time of year you visit, Universal Studios Florida offers some of the best theme park experiences in the world. So how does Universal's flagship theme park hold up? And is it a superstar day or a big budget flop? For Review Time, I'm Luke, and this is our review of Universal Studios Florida. Family rides, 8 out of 10. The lineup of family attractions is approaching that of a Disney park, with a great mix of things to do for the young and the young at heart. You can't talk about family rides at the park without starting at E.T. Adventure, a ride that has truly stood the test of time, being one of the only opening day attractions still on offer in the park. Jump aboard a bike and soar through the sky with E.T. on an exciting journey to the Green Planet, where an alien friend may even say your name at the end. This attraction might be old, but it still stands up today, thanks to its practical effects and sets that don't rely on screens. Now, I've done one too many shooter dark rides in my time, but Men in Black Alien Attack really changes up the formula, with its fully featured animatronics, PvP sections and setting. It's just plain fun, and probably the best shooter dark ride out there in the world. Despicable Me Minion Mayhem turns you into a minion and is a 4D simulator that will be loved by children but can be completely skipped by adults. Another ride that's showing its ride system's age is the Simpsons ride, a super fun ride film and experience that truly does feel like an extension of the TV show, but the ride system itself is limping on, being a holdover from Back to the Future the ride. It will be interesting to see what happens to this plot of land in the next few years. It should be noted that Woody Woodpecker's Kid Zone is currently closed for an expansion and rethemed to DreamWorks properties. But what we did experience was great, and what they replace it with should be much better, utilizing Universal's experience in creating world-class attractions, utilizing well-known and loved IPs. Expansions are also underway at the front of the park, with a new Minions VillainCon attraction set to open in the next few months. A lot of rides in this park do toe the line between family and thrill rides well, such as Transformers and Race Through New York, which leads us perfectly into thrill rides, 7 out of 10. While the thrill rides may not be as big of a draw as the park's next door neighbor, there's still a good mix here of thrilling and themed attractions. Revenge of the Mummy is one of the standout attractions in the park, an indoor roller coaster that is a truly thrilling and immersive experience. Just make sure you bring Brendan Fraser his coffee if you don't want to feel the true Mummy's wrath. Fast and Furious Supercharged is clearly the result of Universal trying to release a new attraction every year by whatever means possible. And the biggest pain comes from the fact that we lost two incredibly unique attractions to open a Fast and Furious ride where you don't go fast. But hey, the ride experience sure makes you furious. On the other hand, I believe Race Through New York starring Jimmy Fallon is better than most people seem to think. But it says a lot that the best part of the attraction is the awesome pre-show experience that unfortunately not all guests get to enjoy. Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts is the Forbidden Journey parallel for this park, and manages to recapture lightning in a bottle within the Gringotts setting. The ride is a super unique roller coaster that uses technology well to create an amazing mix of a thrill ride and a dark ride, with the ride's first drop being a truly jaw-dropping moment. Elsewhere in the park is Transformers The Ride 3D, a truly thrilling dark ride that pales slightly when compared to Spider-Man. While I know a lot of people prefer this version, it does bring up a slight problem with the resort, where some attractions make you go, wow, I wish I was at Islands of Adventure right now. Also in the park is Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, the worst roller coaster experience we had all trip, but others have said that it's not always like that. But it can be like that. So that's all we'll speak of this attraction. Experiences, 7 out of 10. The timing of your visit to Universal Studios Florida will play a big part in determining what experiences are on offer around the park. Some of the world's best theme park events are contained here, such as Mardi Gras, which brings the fun, food, and festival atmosphere of New Orleans to Universal, and later in the year you can experience the magic of a Christmas in New York, without the blistering cold. Both of these events are included in your regular park admission. Though similar to Epcot, outside of these events, the park feels as if something major is missing. So be sure to check out what's on offer before locking in your visit, to really get the most out of it. Outside of special events, the rest of the park is still teeming with quality experiences, such as the entirety of Diagon Alley, which makes you feel as if you stepped right into the world of Harry Potter. Unlike Hogsmeade, where right next door to Hogwarts Castle is a giant Jurassic World-themed roller coaster, Diagon Alley is all-encompassing, with large facades that really bring an extra level of immersion. And, as expected, Ollivanders makes another appearance here, so that you can perhaps be one of the lucky few to be paired with a wand of your very own. You can also get between Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley via the Hogwarts Express, but keep in mind it is only available to guests with a park hopper ticket. Race Through New York with Jimmy Fallon is a ride that at certain times can offer a full package experience, where the ragtime gals will serenade you with current pop hits through the iconic barbershop quartet style. But you can get unlucky, and at certain times of the day there will simply be a blank stage showing clips from The Tonight Show. Whilst not necessarily an experience, those a little bit older will be hit by a wave of nostalgia, with brands such as The Simpsons, Men in Black, The Mummy, E.T. and more being featured throughout the theme park. Plus, whilst no longer having its own ride, it's not uncommon to run into Doc Brown from Back to the Future or Beetlejuice while walking around the theme park. This is also the theme park that Halloween Horror Nights calls home, so if you visit during the spooky months, you can pay a bit extra to experience a genuinely fun and frightful event. Entertainment, 8 out of 10. While it's a shame the park doesn't have the universal staple of Waterworld, it makes up for it by offering some incredibly unique and one-of-a-kind entertainment offerings. The Bourne Stuntacular is one of, if not the best theme park stunt show in the world, combining technology and incredible feats into a spectacular package. We don't want to spoil the show too much for anyone, but it's our don't miss experience of the entire park. Another don't miss show for a completely different reason is the Horror Makeup Show, a classic of the park that blends Hollywood special effects with a strong mix of improvisational comedy, making it different every single time. And on our trip, we ended up with a 45-minute expanded version of the show, just because the hosts were riffing on each other so strongly. Diagon Alley also has a number of shows on offer that are a lot better than those on offer at Hogsmeade, and thankfully, these ones are in the shade. The Animal Actors on Location show is a classic of Universal. Who doesn't love sitting back and watching some talented animals do their thing? With the show recently closing at Universal Hollywood, Orlando is now the one place to watch and enjoy these cute critters. This show is also one of the only surviving remnants of the studio park, and peeling back the curtains on movies is my favorite part of the classic Universal attractions. It's just a shame most of them have since been removed. This might be an edgy opinion, but the Blues Brothers show is one of the best things in the entire park. It's fun, it's vibrant, the crowds get involved, and everyone just has an all-around great time with no queues in sight. So make sure you find the time to sit back and enjoy Jake and Elwood singing those soul classics, as they have been in the park for over 30 years. Operations, 9 out of 10. Operations at Universal Studios Florida are simply world class. Rarely were we inconvenienced with ride outages, And despite visiting during one of the busiest times of the year, with it being 4th of July, operations were kept smooth and efficient, with all staff being friendly and courteous. We did have Express Pass, which helped us experience as much as possible during our short visit to the resort, but we were paying attention to the average waits around the park, and they never looked extravagantly long. With little more to say, we ultimately see that as a good thing. When operations are done right, people barely notice them at all. Theming, 8 out of 10. Universal Studios Florida is undoubtedly a studio theme park. But once you've moved past the vast beige sound stages littered around the entrance, you enter into some genuinely well-themed lands, even if they are just trying to emulate movie studio backlots. Nestled in a corner of the park alongside Men in Black is the iconic land of Springfield, which brings the cartoon world of The Simpsons to life, with colourful buildings that look as if they've been ripped right out of the TV show. Whilst the heyday of The Simpsons has definitely passed, it's still a great place to explore, shop, and eat for those who grew up with the show. As mentioned before, Diagon Alley is one of the most immersive theme park lands in the world, and easily redeems some of the park's thematic shortcomings. It's a must-visit for those interested in Harry Potter or well-crafted thematic environments. And whilst we've always been iffy on the static dragon, it's hard to argue that this iconic centerpiece doesn't grab people's attention. Studio theme parks aren't for everybody, but it feels like this park is really embracing its movie-making theming instead of just using it as an excuse to be cheap. Merchandise, 9 out of 10. If you're looking to shop, Universal has something for you to buy. Universal Studios Florida is chock full of stores featuring some iconic merchandise, almost to an overwhelming degree. Starting out, you've got the park-specific Universal Studios range, which, unlike Islands of Adventure, is not lacking in any way. It feels like Universal has slapped its logo onto pretty much everything, and honestly, we're all for it. Many of Universal's brands and IPs are well represented as well, and the inclusion of City Walk means that you don't even need a ticket to the park to purchase what's on offer. Despite its immersive theming and thrilling attraction, Diagon Alley can best be described as the Harry Potter shopping mall. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, as fans can purchase a full assortment of Harry Potter and Wizarding World gear that make great keepsakes and gifts. Universal Studios provides a great retro collection with a ton of products celebrating attractions that are sadly no longer in the park. And also, depending on when you visit, there is likely to be a tribute store, which is just as much of an attraction as a shopping location. We've experienced an incredible parade warehouse for Carnival, a celebration of Universal's most famous movies for summer, and a creepy haunted dark ride for Halloween Horror Nights, all of which were immaculately themed. Affordability, 8 out of 10. There's no doubt that Universal is expensive, but genuinely, the value is there. Much like the other big resort in Orlando, Universal wants to keep you on site as long as they can. So the more days you have on your ticket, the cheaper each day becomes. In its current state, depending if there's a special event, we would recommend at least a 3-day park hopper to enjoy this resort, which will currently cost you $294 US. But more often than not, there are special ticket offers like the current one, which gets you into the park for 4 days for only $221. Staying on site can be a great way to add additional value to your trip, as it gets you into the park an hour early, and rooms at hotels like Endless Summer are very affordable for what's included. Plus, if you stay in a deluxe level resort, you get a free Express Pass, which, if you're planning to get Express Pass anyway, can often be around the same price or even cheaper than just the pass itself for multiple guests staying in a single room. Food and drinks are expected theme park prices, and we found Universal Studios less desirable to eat, noting a lack of quality and variety compared to Islands of Adventure, and the pizza and pasta we ate in the New York area unfortunately wasn't great. Do just be aware though that the most unique offerings at the park, such as Halloween Horror Nights, are completely separately ticketed events. though Mardi Gras and Christmas are included in your regular park ticket. Atmosphere, 8 out of 10. It's Florida, so of course most of the year it's going to be insanely hot. And unfortunately the park doesn't have any water rides to help cool you down like at Islands of Adventure. But thankfully, most attractions are indoors, with pretty much all of the queues being undercover. Despite visiting during one of the busiest times of the year, the 4th of July, the vast walkways and abundant greenery kept the park feeling fresh, and the crowds were barely a problem, except for Diagon Alley, which can get overwhelmingly crowded at various times of the day, to the point where it was uncomfortable to be in, especially in the center street where the Dragon is. Being a studio theme park, you can expect some pop music whilst getting around, though many areas do have thematically appropriate soundtracks, such as Springfield, Diagon Alley, New York, and San Francisco. During events like Mardi Gras, the park has some of the greatest atmosphere that we've ever felt in a theme park. But outside of these events, the end of your night may feel a little lackluster, with no big event to draw the crowds together. Services, 9 out of 10. Universal Orlando is a world-class resort destination and has the services to back it up. As mentioned before, there are plenty of hotels nearby to help immerse yourself in the resort experience, plus the aforementioned added benefit of an express pass if you stay in a deluxe resort. Around the park are lockers that are a requirement for a number of attractions, with free options to temporarily store your smaller belongings, or additional paid options elsewhere for those looking to offload some of their unnecessary gear for a longer period of time. The park also offers the best way to park hop in the world, the fully themed Hogwarts Express experience, which can save your legs a ton of walking. Just be aware that it does require a park hopper ticket to utilize this service. The park also provides plenty of assistance and help to those who require it. So if you need anything, always ask one of the friendly team members and I'm sure they'll be happy to help. While this park may not have the big drawcard attractions like its younger brother next door, its unique seasonal offerings means this park holds some of my favorite theme park memories of all time. In a few years when Epic Universe opens though, this park is going to be showing its age. So if you want to experience Universal Studios Florida in its current state, I would get down there sooner rather than later, as I feel once their brand new theme park wraps, all focus will be shifted back to their original. But over to you. What are your thoughts on Universal Studios Florida? We'd love to hear about them in the comments section down below. And a huge thank you to Universal Studios for inviting us out for the purpose of our review. From the home of all things theme parks, I'm Luke for ReviewTyme. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing.